Hey everyone, it's Friday, June 5th. Let's talk PlayStation. So, of course, there's a lot of big news stories this past week. I think Fallout 4 got announced, something like that. Kind of an okay news story, but not that big, because what we're really going to talk about right now is PlayStation 3 Firmware Update 4.75. Yes, finally, a new PlayStation 3 Firmware Update, and you better believe it's for software stability. So thank God Sony is still keeping the PlayStation 3 nice and stable. Okay, that's not really like a huge news story, but certainly worth noting. Next up, Driveclub. So we all know we're still waiting on the Driveclub PlayStation Plus Edition. Turns out they just had a huge server upgrade for Driveclub, so the developer, Evolution Studios, has been pretty open about the fact that, hey, we just upgraded the servers. The Plus version is probably going to be coming very, very soon. I would assume maybe, they'd announce it, not during like Sony's E3 press conference, but certainly around that time frame of where like all this E3 news is starting to pour out and everything, which we'll get to in a second. So I'm sure at some point during the week or next few weeks, it'll just come out, like Evolution Studios will say, hey, Driveclub PS Plus is finally going to be available. Finally. So one big thing going on, Ultra Street Fighter 4 recently came out on PlayStation 4. Really shoddy port, apparently. I, of course, don't own the game, but multiple reports of the game having lag input, shoddy frame rate drops, stuff like that. All around, just a very not good port of the game. Evo 15, of course, was going to use PlayStation 4 as the primary console for that tournament, for the Ultra Street Fighter 4 tournament. Turns out Evo 2015 is dropping PlayStation 4, and they're going with Xbox 360 as the main platform to play Ultra Street Fighter 4 on. And this is kind of a big deal because the whole point of even porting the game over to PlayStation 4, that was Sony's doing. Sony's the one that approached Capcom and said, we're going to bring the game over and everything. We'll get, a port house, we'll get a developer to do it and everything. Port turns out to be an absolute mess. Sony tries to get the, PS4 to be the main platform for the, the fighting genre and everything. Make PlayStation like the place to play fighting games because, of course, they're gearing up for Street Fighter 5, which is going to be exclusive to PlayStation 4 and PC. And they totally dropped the ball in this scenario because now Evo is switching back to Xbox 360. Not even PlayStation 3 because the PlayStation 3 version of Ultra Street Fighter 4 is not that great either. So this is typical Sony. This is the kind of Sony that I remember back in the day, back at least in PlayStation 3 days, where we were always getting poor ports. 360 was always the preferred place to play. This is not, and this is not typical modern Sony because they've been very good at what they've been doing recently with a lot of their decisions, and to see them kind of mess up Ultra Street Fighter 4 on PS4 is surprising, but not surprising because Sony did do stuff like this in the past. In better PlayStation 4 news, actually really good PlayStation 4 news, I'm really happy about this. Am Bread is coming to PlayStation 4. Please tell me you've seen this game already. If you're watching YouTube, you've surely seen this game on every other fucking YouTube channel that exists. It's that funny bread game where you have to, move around a piece of bread because it's all hard to do and stuff. Of course, the same developer from Surgeon Simulator, Bogus Studios, so they have announced that that's coming to PlayStation 4 this summer, so that's actually pretty cool. I'm happy about that. I'll definitely give that a go. This next news story I found rather interesting. Logitech added PS4 support to their Media Hub remotes, so a lot of their universal remotes that they make, now there's PS4 support, so you can finally navigate the menus and Netflix or a Blu-ray menu, something like that. It's funny because I saw this and I was like, yeah, that's right. There is no remote for PlayStation 4, and this is something Sony did previously. They had an official remote for PlayStation 2, for PlayStation 3, and I believe both of those came out right at launch, if not shortly after. I know I definitely got the PS3 remote like a few months after launch. They don't have anything like that for PlayStation 4, and it turns out they actually don't allow support for remotes natively. So actually, with the Logitech support, these remotes, even though you'll be able to use your PlayStation 4, you can't turn on the system. So there's not true native support for third parties to have access to powering up the system and powering down. I believe you could power down the system, but you can't turn it back. You can't turn it on from the remote. I would hope Sony is working on some sort of remote to release at some point. I actually enjoyed using a remote on my PS4 when I'm just in bed and watching Netflix or something. All right, for our next news story, the big obvious news story, the no-brainer news story, Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection has been announced for PlayStation 4. Who didn't see that coming? I mean, really. This was going to happen. This was inevitable. If it wasn't going to happen this year, it was going to happen the next year or the year after that. Why wouldn't Sony remaster 3 of their most popular games from the PlayStation 3 onto PlayStation 4? Especially since we got Uncharted 4 right around the corner. We just talked about this last week or the week before that or something like that. Definitely an obvious choice. Blue Point Games is handling the port, or the remaster, which is great. Blue Point Games has done a lot of remasters for Sony, and they turn out great every time. So that's great there that they chose a reputable developer to do the remaster, because we were just talking about Street Fighter 4, but yeah, so they're handling the remaster. A couple of interesting things to note is no multiplayer for Uncharted 2 or Uncharted 3. It'll be strictly the single-player campaigns of the games. Of course, 1080p, 60 frames per second, a bunch of texture upgrades and things like that. I mean, Uncharted 1 in particular looks pretty choppy nowadays when you go back to it. A lot of the textures and stuff like that. So it'll be nice to see that game get like a nice little uplift. The game is going to come with a beta for Uncharted 4, so you'll have beta access to Uncharted 4. And the obvious one, October 7th for Europe and October 9th for North America. So those are actually the dates. We have a firm date. Usually what happens with remasters, we see big AAA new original titles or big sequels or something like that, and they get delayed and stuff, and they take years to develop. But with remasters, typically it's like, hey, here it is. It's coming out on this date, because it's relatively an easy job. Well, nothing's easy, quote unquote, but you know what I mean. It's certainly more doable than releasing a completely new original title. So we can probably expect the Uncharted Collection to come right on time, which is great. So I'm about to have 3 shiny new Uncharted Platinums to go with my original 3 Uncharted Platinum trophies. All right, next news story, really, really good one. 2 new PlayStation 4 models have been listed on the FCC website, so we can expect 2 new PS4 models coming. No big significant redesign or anything like that. This is not slim PS4 or anything. This is just small internal changes to the PS4. Sony does this all the time. Every hardware manufacturer does this with the same product. It's going to stay the same box, but different things change inside of it. So the big differences, of course, between the 2 models is that one of them actually comes with a terabyte hard drive. So about time we finally have one standard PlayStation 4 sold with internal 1 terabyte storage. So I'm surprised it actually took that long. The other one still going to have 500 gigabytes. The interesting changes is the internal components. They don't go into too much detail, but they do note that the power usage, the wattage of the system has decreased. So it's from 250 watts to 230, so it's going to be using less power, and the system actually weighs less too. Same PlayStation 4 box, same model. It just kind of shows you, what hardware manufacturers do over the course of time, which is the components of these machines get cheaper, therefore they can lower the wattage, they can decrease the size and parts or move around the parts. It's still going to operate the same, still going to function the same, but this is one of those things where maybe it could also increase reliability. It of course uses less electricity. That's certainly not a problem. Could possibly make the box less heated. Maybe it doesn't heat up as much. It's just overall a good thing, and this probably also makes the boxes more profitable for Sony, so they maybe are lowering the price of the components a little bit, so they're making even more money when they're selling each PS4, and at some point they will definitely pass those savings on to consumers when they finally price cut the PlayStation 4, but of course they have no reason to do that right now because PS4 is still consistently selling well, and Sony is a corporation, they do like to make money, so they probably do want to increase profitability on each machine sold, and this is kind of one of those instances. Alright, for our last news story, it's actually an Xbox story, but it's interesting because it kind of has the small little PlayStation caveat, which we all know is PT was removed from the PlayStation Store. We all know Silent Hills got canceled. One absolutely ridiculous rumor came out this past week, and I can't believe it picked up so much steam because it is absolutely ridiculous, so I feel like I really want to talk about it, which is that the rumor was Microsoft was going to buy Silent Hills or revive it and make it not canceled anymore, and make it exclusive to Xbox One. That was the rumor, and major websites picked this up. Even IGN reported on this. It was originally reported from Rooster Teeth. They got a source, and Rooster Teeth posted it, and then IGN and all of these other game websites picked it up. And I can't believe even Rooster Teeth took this, because it just seems kind of absolute crap, to be honest. The rumor was, of course, that Microsoft would be buying Silent Hills. Now, that wouldn't be absolutely surprising. Microsoft loves buying third-party games. Microsoft loves having third-party exclusives. They totally are all about buying something. So that's not unbelievable. What is unbelievable is the other details about the story, is that Microsoft would have bought it for apparently billions of dollars, which is absolutely absurd. That's an absurd amount of money to buy one game, or at the very least one whole franchise, when all of Konami is probably worth just over a little bit of $1 billion. Not even. I highly doubt that. The big giveaway for the rumor was that apparently the game's 80% done, which is no way in hell was that game 80% done. That game probably wasn't even 10% done. No chance in hell. A game that's 80% done and we haven't seen a single thing about it, no chance in hell was it even close to 80% done. No assets, no nothing, no trailers, no interviews, no, like, literally nothing about that game has been revealed outside of the fact that we had PT, which was a piece of content that was completely unrelated to what the final product was going to be. And that's why PT was so interesting, because it wasn't going to be anything like the actual final game, which was likely going to be third person. Of course, have Norman Reedus in it, have a whole bunch of motion cap and things like that, which had already been revealed that the motion capture was never recorded for that game. No, it was not 80% done. There's also the fact that the rumor did not detail at all who was still involved in the project, how they were talking to Konami, and how they were, there was no details on if Del Toro was still attached, if they were going to get Kojima back on. It was just like one of those rumors where it's like, are you serious? This is not true. And then Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, commented on this saying it's not true. And normally I would say, like, oh, you can't trust him because obviously he wants to make it a surprise or something like that, but like, it's not true. It's not true. So I just can't believe that rumor picked up so much steam. Like it's really? All right, those are just some of the news stories I want to talk about with you all this week. E3 getting closer and closer. I'm surprised there's not many that leaks coming out just yet. It seems to happen every year right before E3, so who knows? We might get some more trickling details coming out just as we're leading up to all the big press conferences. But hopefully they actually stay in, because I enjoy watching those shows and being genuinely surprised about what's going to happen. So, but just giving you fair warning, if like stuff leaks, keep your eyes peeled on the internet. We will, of course, talk it up as we always do here. So, on the channel this past week, Video Game Teacher is finally back. For those that have subscribed recently in the past year or so, don't know what that is. I did this like 2 years ago or something. It was like a short series I did where I show a lot of my non-gamer friends how to play games. So I teach them how to play games, and it's a really fun, it's more of like a comedy show. Not to say I'm like acting or anything, it's all genuine, but it's like totally funny because like I really enjoy recording those, and I finally uploaded a new one, which was on that really weird PlayStation 3 game, Linger in Shadows, which isn't even really a game, it's more of like a demo scene kind of experience, and really creepy game. I was showing my friend Brandon how to play it, and it was a really funny video, so check that out. When those are going to get uploaded, I'm thinking like every other Monday, so this Monday is actually going to be a surprise video, which by the time we haven't had one of those on this channel in a long time. This channel stays pretty consistent, so probably like alternating Mondays for a Video Game Teacher, and then like maybe a surprise video every other Monday to kind of fill it in. Of course, every Monday was usually a Let's Play video. Of course, I'm not doing a Let's Play right now, so you're thinking, oh, when are the Let's Plays going to come back? As I've told the people that watch the Let's Plays, when I hit 50,000 subscribers, I will finally do a Jak 2 Let's Play. That's what I always tell people. I always get told to do a Jak 2 Let's Play. I will do a Jak 2 Let's Play at 50,000 subscribers. We're very, very close, so I'm just going to not do a Let's Play until we hit 50,000, and we will start Jak 2. Also, check out this week's episode of Ride on Gaming. The topic was trophies, why I love them, how I hunt them. Just kind of general discussion on trophies, achievements, kind of gauging your opinion on maybe the certain kind of videos that you want to see from me in regards to like trophy stuff. A lot of people want me to do certain videos on trophies and whatnot. So check that video out. Very good discussion. If you are a trophy fanatic, achievement fanatic, go give that conversation a look. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Benecki. Thank you so much for talking with me, and I'll see you guys all next Friday.